Hey everyone, if you are running any kind of Linux system, you absolutely need to know about this book, Mastering Linux Security and Hardening. Seriously, this isn't just theory, it's a practical, hands-on guide to turning your server into a digital fortress. So what makes it so indispensable? Well, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the book tackles a really dangerous assumption. You've probably heard it a million times, maybe you've even thought it yourself. Hey, I'm running Linux, so I'm automatically safe. But with the kind of threats we see today, is that confidence really justified? So this gets right to the heart of the book's whole argument. Look, on one hand, you've got all the things that make Linux great, right? Its multi-user design, the fact that it's open source. But on the other hand, you have the brutal reality of modern threats. We're talking ransomware, botnets, you name it. And the book makes this crucial point. Often, the biggest vulnerability isn't the OS itself, it's just a poorly configured server. Just relying on the default settings? That's not a security strategy anymore. Okay, so how does the book actually get you from theory to practice? Well, it starts with a really critical first step, building a safe place to learn and experiment. Before you ever dream of touching a live production server, the author walks you through setting up your very own virtual lab. Right from the very first chapter, you are getting your hands dirty. The instructions for setting up VirtualBox are super clear, step by step. And one of the key techniques the book really emphasizes is using snapshots. Think of this like a safety net. It lets you mess around, try new configurations, and if you break something, which you will, you can just roll back in an instant. It's all about learning by doing, but without any of the risk. All right, once your lab is up and running, the first real topic is all about controlling who can get into your system and, just as important, what they're allowed to do once they're inside. This is, without a doubt, the absolute foundation of real security. The book immediately hits you with a core concept, the principle of least privilege. The idea is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Only give users the exact permissions they need to do their job, and absolutely nothing more. I mean, it sounds like common sense, right? But the book points out just how often this critical rule gets broken, leaving systems totally wide open. And this is the great part. The book doesn't just tell you what to do, it shows you exactly how to do it. It goes deep into configuring the sudoers file, teaching you how to create these aliases for specific commands and user groups so you can grant super specific, granular permissions. Like, say, allowing a junior admin to restart the web server, but literally nothing else. This is where the practical value of the book really shines. With the basics covered, now we get to move into the heavy-duty stuff. This is all about deploying the really powerful internal security tools that truly harden a Linux system against a determined attacker. So the book introduces a concept that, let's be honest, can be pretty intimidating: mandatory access control, or MAC. The key idea here is that security policy is enforced by the system itself, not by individual users. Every process is basically locked in a tiny box and can only do exactly what the policy says it can. And the most famous example of this, of course, is SELinux. And here's a perfect example of how that works in practice. So your web server process, it's confined by a specific policy. It's allowed to read web content, of course, but it is explicitly forbidden from touching, say, user files in the home directory. What does that mean? It means even if an attacker manages to compromise your website, SELinux is there like an internal guard, stopping them from moving around and stealing your sensitive data. It's huge. The author knows exactly what you're thinking. SELinux has a reputation, right, for being difficult. How many tutorials have you seen online where step one is literally just disable SELinux? The book tackles this head on. It acknowledges the history, but then gives you practical, modern ways to actually manage it effectively instead of just turning it off. Okay, next up, the book really hammers home a critical philosophy. Security is not a one-time setup. It's never done. It is an ongoing process of scanning, auditing, and constantly monitoring your systems. And the book gives you a whole toolkit for this. First up, you've got Rootkit Hunter. This thing is designed to find the most sneaky, insidious type of malware out there, the kind that actually modifies your core system files to hide itself. Then there's AuditD, the Linux auditing daemon. The best way to think about this is like a high-definition security camera for your entire system. It creates a detailed, tamper-resistant log of every single important event. So if a breach ever does happen, you have a crystal-clear trail of exactly what went down. Now, for anyone working in regulated industries, this next one is an absolute lifesaver. The book covers OpenSCAP. This tool automates compliance by scanning your system against established security benchmarks, and it can even fix the configurations that are out of line for you. It saves a massive amount of manual work.
And of course, since web servers are on the front lines, it introduces tools like NICTO. This is a specialist that specifically scans for thousands of common web vulnerabilities, making sure your public-facing services are locked down tight. See? Together, all these tools form a really comprehensive, layered defense strategy.
So after all the tools, all the techniques, what's the ultimate goal here? What is the core philosophy that this book is really trying to teach us?
I love this quote. It just captures the book's philosophy perfectly. It's not about achieving some mythical state of perfect security, because that doesn't exist. It's about defense in depth. It's about making an attacker's job as difficult, as noisy, and as time-consuming as you possibly can. Every single hardened configuration is just another wall they have to try and climb.
Ultimately, mastering Linux security and hardening is such an incredible resource because it turns all that theory into actual practice. It forces you to adopt a proactive mindset. You see, building the fortress is just the first step. The real work is in that constant vigilance, checking the locks, watching the walls, and auditing the guards. So the question the book really leaves you with is, are you doing enough?